Hello, I'm coming to you once again to discuss the sequester. This is Thursday, February 28th, and the sequestration is scheduled to start effective tomorrow. I spoke on the floor of the House yesterday to express my concern about the exaggerations or the distortions that have been going all across the country about this. I feel like, and I've heard that almost every department and agency in the federal government has been told to pick out their most public, most popular service that they provide and tell everyone that that's what will have to be cut. When what they could do is cut out some of their travel, some of their consultants, some of their sweetheart contracts that they give to former retirees from their different department or agency, some of the revolving door work that's being done in every department and agency up here, and some of their paperwork and some of their conferences. But that's not what they, of course, want to do. But I was interested that when I read that Mayor Bloomberg of New York was quoted when they asked him as saying what he feared or worried about the sequester, he said, "Spare me." He said just yesterday that the administration's efforts to scare people about the sequester had gone way too far. And he said, quote, "In all fairness, on Monday we'll be able to police the streets." He said there's a lot of posturing, that's the way he put it, and that statements about laying off employees, closing down hospitals, letting prisoners go, he said, quote, "are not good for the country." And I certainly agree with that. I don't agree with a lot of things that Mayor Bloomberg says or does, but I agree with him on this. He said, "Spare me. I live in that world. I mean, come on." He said, "Let's get serious here." And then in today's National Journal Daily that goes to every member of Congress, Steve Bell, Senior Director of the Bipartisan Policy Center, says the sequester is, quote, "absolutely overhyped." He says, quote, "A sequester will occur, and the next day the likelihood is that almost no one will know that it started." And I said on the floor of the House, and I'll say it again, the choice is simple. We either have to cut the budget and significantly cut it and do it for several years in a row, or we're going to crash in the very near future. The President says that is going all over the country saying that the sequester is going to hurt. Well, the sequester is $85 billion, and out of a $16 trillion economy, that is about half of 1%. Actually, what's going to hurt the economy a whole lot worse is all of his tax hikes and Obamacare. I've heard a lot of problems with that, especially from the restaurant industry and others, talking about having to lay people off so that they don't go over 30 hours work, and how expensive it will be to provide full-time health care to all these employees, and then also all of the environmental overregulation and overkill that has forced millions of good jobs to other countries for over 40 years now. Those are the things that are going to hurt the economy, not this sequester. The sequester is minuscule in comparison to those tax hikes and Obamacare and the overregulation, the things that I just mentioned. But things need to be cut. And the problem is this: only about a third of the budget is for things that they consider discretionary. Now, if they have to take the entire sequester out of that, then some things will have to be cut a little bit more. But overall, the sequester is a 2.3% cut on the total budget. Now, some people will very falsely tell you that you can't cut non-discretionary spending, but that's not true. For instance, many things that they consider discretionary can and should be cut. For instance, Medicare. People will tell you, "Oh, we can't cut Medicare." Well, Medicare, for instance, has some people, many people, and companies that have gotten filthy rich off of Medicare. We should stop that. And in addition to that, there's all sorts of waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare. We need to do more to fight that. But we can do some of those things without cutting one single poor person off of Medicare or Medicaid. But we need to stop letting people get rich off of those things. And then two, we need to cut out some of the bureaucracy and paperwork, even in what are called the non-discretionary spending. So there can be a lot of savings there, and if we would work on those things, then almost anything could have some reduction, and it should be done across the board so that no department or agency is affected in any drastic way.